comfortable seating and the client being totally comfortable can amount to him staying longer to order an extra $22 cocktail or an extra $175 bottle of wine.
We talk to customers about this all the time, and it's what we refer to as dollars generated per seat. So when you're calculating the return on investment of a capital investment like furniture, we try to emphasize the importance of understanding that as well.
Welcome to Let's Set Your Table, the food service and hospitality podcast that brings you the experts, trending news, and product reviews from across the industry. So grab a chair with your hosts and join us as we set your table.
Well, welcome all to yet another episode of Let's Set Your Table. I'm your host, John D. We've got another great episode for you here today, and joining us at the table is Nick D. and Jack from the Hody Group, Mr. Jack Hody. How are you guys doing today?
Pretty good.
I'm doing pretty well, too. I'm excited for another exciting episode of Let's Set Your Table with awesome guests.
Yes, we're going to dive right into today's episode. We've got a great guest, as you guys know, with us today from Trendler, Inc. out of Chicago. We have Andreas Gfesser joining us, and we want to talk a little bit with Andreas from Trendler, the role and importance of ergonomics in commercial seating, and why is ergonomic design so important in the food service and hospitality industry. We're going to talk some seating. We're going to talk some booths. We're going to talk customization in that commercial space. So we're so happy to have you today with us, Andreas. Welcome to the table.
Well, thank you, gentlemen. It's great to be here. Look forward to sharing my industry wisdom with you. And the Hody Group is just amazing. Love working with them. So can't wait to get into it.
Thanks so much. Well, listen, guys, before we go any further, we have to first give a shout out to our sponsor.
This episode of Let's Set Your Table is brought to you by the Hody Group Chicago Showroom. The Hody Group offers professional broker services in the food service and hospitality industry with over 40 years experience. The Hody Group's product showroom boasts over 4,000 square feet of some of the best product lines in the industry. So if you're interested in scheduling a free in-person or virtual appointment with a product specialist, please visit hodegroupshowroom.com. That's HODE groupshowroom.com.
Well, Andreas, just a real quick, maybe for those that do not know and never heard of Trendler, if you can give us just a quick down and dirty on who Trendler is and what value you guys bring to the street in culinary and hospitality.
For sure. Trendler Incorporated was founded in 1963. It's a manufacturer in Chicago. We have over 200,000 square foot of manufacturing capabilities. We specialize in seating products, which would be chairs, counter stools, bar stools, wood, metal, upholstered, and a multitude of materials. We are vertically integrated, specifically meaning we have plastic injection molding, tube fabrication, powder coating, and a multitude of other woodworking, wood finishing, all right there on site. We are what would be officially considered a U.S. furniture manufacturer. We also, noteworthy, we have replicated all of the ANSI BIFMA testing facilities on site. ANSI BIFMA is American National Standard for Businesses in Furniture Manufacturing. So we actually make sure all of our products adhere to the industry standards, which is a distinct competitive advantage. Very rare that furniture manufacturers do that or comply. So we got that going for us.
I know Jack has been there many times. Nick and I, a couple years ago, toured your factory and went through the whole thing, soup to nuts, and it was fantastic.
Right.
It left an impression.
Yeah, it's actually... We embrace continuous improvement. We're lean manufacturers. So the last time you were there, it's actually different now than it was and improved and more streamlined and more capabilities. So every time you go, you'll see something new and look forward to you guys coming out.
That's great. Now, Jack, you have spent a lot of time working one-on-one with Trendler. Being that you're in the city of Chicago and you guys rooted the company there and you've had a lot of time working with them. Would you share some of your experiences?
First of all, it's when you give me the charge of talking about Andreas, there isn't anything that he is afraid of attending. Okay. Andreas is, because he's in Chicago, and he's about the only guy that I knew that was on the street more than me. Okay. Yeah, I mean, this guy, it was unbelievable. But Andreas was really, really good. He's a great partner to have, and he knows what to listen for from a prospective client about what they're looking for. Okay. Um, Before this gets too far along, I want to mention the selling tool that is the plant, the manufacturing facility.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, when you take a serious buyer into that facility and they see the workflow and they see the dedication of the employees, and what I always notice is how Andreas's brother Stefan or Andreas himself would communicate and cajole with the people on the production lines and in the different departments. It's evident that they have people there for a long time doing things that they count on. Okay, um, this is not just a company in Chicago that's open from 8 to 4, and everybody goes home. This company gets after it, okay? And they've got the greatest manufacturing facilities and processes. Everything's done soup to nuts right in that facility.
Yeah.
It's hard to say that today, okay? Andreas, am I correct that you people actually make components, and I know which one specifically, but you guys make many components for other chair manufacturers. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. We start as a original equipment manufacturer, supplying the components to other furniture manufacturers. So we still do that. It's a big part of our business. But we also have our own furniture brand. But to your point, Jack, we have employees that have been there 35 years, 40 years. Average tenure is I believe, like 19 years, which is a testament to the culture we've created. It's awesome.
Absolutely.
Walking through that floor that day, you really do get a sense of USA-made products and USA-made staff and teamwork. Definitely just throwing my 2 cents into the testimony of the company to what Jack said. And Andres, it's a testimony to your family business and the longevity and the craftsmanship, because when you witness it, like Jack said, it especially with a customer, I can only imagine the impact it would have. And just want to say that if you are listening, the reason why we're talking so much about this is I think there also is a sense of committed USA-made products and still standing behind that USA-made just overall that deliverable. So
and that
awesome
theme
stuff.
That theme is so important today. And again, what a testimony to having labor and the loyalty of your employees. It's just it means so much today.
Yeah,
So
emphasizing one point to that. We are a family business. There's 4 brothers in business together. My father founded it. He passed, rest his soul, but lived a great, wonderful life. His legacy lives on. But the relevance is we're a family, and we are the Trendler family, and all the employees are unified and feel part of the family as well. It's not just the ownership group. It's a strong family culture, and we look at our customers as the lifeblood of our future, and we look at ourselves as an extension of what they need. So when they come in there, it's not just making furniture, it's making custom furniture for the application they're looking to exude and emphasize their brand. So we have built our business on just taking care of what our customers want and need, and being vertically integrated, we manufacture everything. So we have a lot of flexibility to create the products that suit what the customers are looking and intending to have within their restaurant or facility.
well, as establishments build out or refurbish, and what you guys bring to the table and can offer, it's absolutely instrumental. I got to be honest with you, Andreas, and we were talking about this as we were getting waiting for you to join us. I have sat and dined in such uncomfortable seating in dining spaces today. It's almost like our joke is, well, never go back there because it's the most uncomfortable. I mean, you're going to spend good money. You want to enjoy, especially when you're in consumer mode and you bring your lovely wife or significant other out with you. I want to enjoy it, but it's so uncomfortable with what they have you sit and dine in today.
Yeah, that happens on occasion. We take ergonomics very serious, and the fundamental definition of ergonomics is just something that can accommodate the natural human anatomy. And when it comes to seating in a restaurant, there's natural seating angles, and there's width, there's contours to fit, and various different foams to accommodate the comfort levels. Even a wood seat, a lot of people will say, you take an upholstered seat and you take a wood seat, everyone thinks the upholstered seat's going to be more comfortable. It seems that way because of the material composition. The way that we make the saddles in our wood seats, it really is almost equally as comfortable. And the big part of comfort in seating is the angle of the back to the seat. And a normal seating angle is set at 3 degrees. And depending on what the end user, the restaurateur, wants to do with their customers, some of the restaurateurs want their customers to sit there for a while, have a great formal dining experience for an anniversary or a wedding or whatever is there. So they want the people to really just feel emotionally connected to whatever the celebration is. Right. We have a way of making the seating more or less comfortable, and that's usually accomplished in the seating angle of the seat itself. So if you go from a 3 degree to a 2 degree, a little more straight up and down, it causes it to be less comfortable versus going all the way to a 5 degree. You feel very relaxed in the environment. So that's some of the science behind just the fundamentals of seating. Say, Jack?
Yeah, Andreas, to embellish on your point a little bit about the angle, how many times have we gotten in our cars and for months at a time, even years at a time, don't ever touch the button on the side that handles the angle of the seat that you're sitting on and the angle of the seat. Okay, but all of a sudden you try it once and you go, whoa, why didn't I do this years ago? Okay. That's exactly what you're talking about. Okay.
Exactly.
And it doesn't have to be a lot. It can be a touch of a button and the seat goes up or down a half an inch or moves a certain way, and how how your spine reacts to that and your legs react to that makes all the difference in the world.
But I'll tell you right now, I have lower back issues. I sit in a chair quite a bit, and it's uncomfortable sometimes. It's what we have to do, and we're on the road quite a bit too, and boy, I always feel better when I'm out walking and on the road. However, there are some serious issues. I mean, I've had to sit in metal chairs lately. Oh, wow. They hurt. They hurt. And, it's the new, it's that farm look in whatever in the dining, right? Industrial. Those are not comfortable.
Yeah, so seating, emphasizing the angle is really the basics. Then there's different lumbar support variations on the seat itself. And then the actual seat where your legs are, how your legs go over there, having a nice, what's referred to as a waterfall edge, which allows your legs not to be pinched. And then on on the bar stools, we have what's referred to as a footrest foot ring that is set at just the height to provide the support and structure there as well. Including you have some chairs with armrests to provide the relaxation there. In addition, we're making certain backs that have not quite a full armrest, but it allows you to flip your arm over the back and kind of use it as a quasi armrest. So all these different features, we kind of take it for granted in the factory. And as I'm talking about it, I'm realizing there's a lot more behind it than really meets the eye. But and what we try to do is take all these benefits and features of the ergonomics and accommodating the human anatomy in a seating environment, and then trying to put stylistic, nice colors and something that gives it a flair to complement our customers' branding initiative as well.
Sure, the color palette.
the color palette and buttons on upholstery.
Branding palette. Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
So what you're saying is in a 5-star restaurant or a 4-star restaurant, the comfortable seating aspect and the client being totally comfortable can amount to him staying longer to order an extra $22 cocktail or an extra $175 bottle of wine.
Yeah, we talk to customers about this all the time, and it's what we refer to as dollars generated per seat.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's a great term. I love that.
Yeah.
Right. And so when
that revenue.
When you're calculating the return on investment of a capital investment like furniture, we try to emphasize the importance of understanding that as well. So in the selection process, we take all of that to where a lot of people don't look at furniture as a capital investment, but the fact of the matter is it legitimately really is. It's got typically a 7-year depreciation schedule, and it usually will outperform the 7 years, but stylistically, sometimes they need a refresh. So
when you're purchasing furniture, what you're saying, Andreas, is that you are purchasing an asset to your company. You're not purchasing a supply item. Okay.
Exactly.
You are purchasing as an asset. Okay, and that asset has depreciation value. Okay, I think that's important to understand. I think, and anytime that a client realizes that you understand that they're going to be buying an asset, that the next question is going to be, do you have a budget for this asset?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that puts us right where we need to be in the conversation piece. Andreas, can you speak to that at all?
Oh, absolutely. Unfortunate for a lot of the restaurateurs, for some crazy reason, and a lot of applications I see, they wait till the last minute with the furniture. Because they're buying their building, they're buying their equipment, they're doing all of these things, and then all of a sudden they're like, wait a minute, we need furniture. And on the balance sheet, there's actually line item for that referred to as furniture, fixtures, and equipment. So there's a reason the accounting industry has taken that into account. The fact, though, is it definitely is an asset and needs to be looked at such. And the challenge in not so much in the nicer restaurants, but some of the faster food environments, they have a tendency mindset-wise of looking at it like an expense. And it becomes a little frustrating because it isn't. It's clearly an expense. At the same time, it's a capital equipment. And one of the things we've been trying to do is exude the importance of looking at it as such, because that's what it is, and it lasts a long time. So, got to keep that in mind.
Yeah.
So as you guys are consulting and listening to, and Jack, I'm sure you've done this a bunch of times. I wish we could do more of it, and we're going to have to try to do more of it down here in the South with Trendler. When you're meeting with operators, I mean, do you find that there's common mistakes that they make, or just things that they don't know, other than making sure that they create the right budget for what they're going to need and make sure that that's a priority? Do you find that there's common mistakes that most of these operators make when they think about making this capital acquisition or purchase?
Yeah, but the one thing I never have learned, as well as I'd like to have, is to not point out those common mistakes right in front of them.
There you go.
Yeah, but it's about, when they go into the meeting with you, it's about letting them explain what they're looking for and you telling them what your company is best at. And right now, what I'm telling you we're best at leaves out about 2 things you're looking for, because what you want is the most beautiful chair possible, and you want it as cheap as possible. Those two don't work. When's the last time you bought a car without air conditioning, but they charged you for it?
There you go.
Okay, you can't do it. Okay, yeah, you can't do it. And it's important to, like Andreas said, there's a line item. Okay, furnishings, equipment, and what else was there on that line item that you were mentioning?
Furniture, fixtures, and equipment.
Furniture, fixtures, and equipment. Okay, that's a budgetary consideration. And if, a lot of times when I was making my appointments, and especially in the tabletop industry, you need to know what the budget is, okay? You need to know what the budget is. Andreas could spend another 4 hours on this podcast telling us about the kinds of products available and what he can do. He'd rather not go into a meeting, nor would I go into a meeting blind, not knowing where to start and what the expectations are. What we're all talking about is the expectations of the customer of your products, okay? That's what we're talking about.
So then, if we could just take a minute, Andreas, what are the common mistakes? Maybe that's the best way to say
That's
it.
a good question.
What are the common mistakes that most of these operators, other than the budget, perhaps make?
Well, unfortunately, I have a very clear answer to that. I've been confronted with this issue so many times. The biggest challenge that a lot of people is that they don't take into account the flow of traffic and what kind of, because we have tables, we have booths, we have bar stools, we have a multitude of different things, and just laying out the front of store in a manner that can optimize the number of seating comfortably, but also accommodate the staff and the structure of the building, where windows are located, where the natural light comes in, and allow a flow from when they enter the restaurant all the way through to where they're going to seat. A lot of people like to sit on a high top. Some people like to sit in a booth. Some people like to sit on a chair. So to be able to have the overall, I refer to as psychographics of the customers themselves, so that you can accommodate any seating environment that they want and still maintain the branding and the stylistic issues you want. So in summary, it's really the layout of the restaurant itself that is something that a lot of people, it's an oversight. It's an oversight.
Andreas, there was a fella, both you and I worked with at length, who's no longer with us, and I'll just say his first name, but he was the biggest professional I've ever met at understanding the flow, as you spoke of, and his name is Paul. Okay,
he was amazing. Paul is a rock star.
He was a rock star. Okay, I miss him, and that guy knew how to make your dining room establishment comfortable for staff, efficient for staff, and comfortable for the patrons.
Was he an owner, GM? What was he, Jack?
He was a sales guy.
Just a sales guy. Okay.
He just knew
not just a sales guy, but
he just knew
a sales guy.
He knew what works.
He was, I would say, sales guy, aka relationship master.
Without a doubt.
He knew how to integrate and get into the customer's head to understand almost what they want better than they knew, and was able to convey it in a way that would help them understand the importance of a lot of what we're talking about with the layout.
I'll just do a typical Jack Hody here. There was one time him and I were working at a beautiful country club up in the Crystal Lake area here, and he was very well known for supplying a lot of these places. And Paul would do just in his talk to the customer, he would do just what Andreas was talking about, where the customer would understand, well, didn't know how much he wanted what he wanted, okay, until Paul was done with him, okay. And then one time he goes, Jack, so we were done, and Paul had more business. I said, I'll go out and wait for you by the car. I go out to the car, and I look at him, I go, well, how'd that go? Well, I don't know what to tell you. I said, well, let me guess. I go, did I talk too much? He goes, yeah. I took away from him because the guy knows his stuff. Story. He knows his stuff.
Yeah. So in summary, it's the layout is important, but taking into account the natural aesthetics that the building has to offer, and flow of the staff, flow of the patrons, all of that is one of the main things that people kind of don't really understand that initially, and we provide that service to help them understand those things and how to accommodate, to make the best of not only the flow but also what to select and how to make it work the best, for sure.
Right.
Nick, we did a while back with Andreas's brother Stefan. We did a couple of YouTube videos, and we need to link them into this podcast in our show notes because,
Oh, yeah.
again, Stefan broke it down more than you ever want to know about a chair and a bar stool, right? So it was great.
Open my mind up for sure.
So it's great to have great products. It's great that they're ergonomically designed, and it's great that we want to talk about it and get exactly what the customer does, so the customer is comfortable staying another hour, spending another $200. Okay, get it. All right. None of this happens if the customer can't get the product. So,
Bingo.
how many times has a cartage company messed up everything we've just talked about by saying it's going to get there, we're going to pick it up, it's not there? Andreas, does your company foster relationships with shippers?
Yeah, shippers is a lifeblood.
Yeah.
We make it a point to keep our lead times very, very. In fact, we have lead times that are so short, customers do not need it in the time that we can produce our product. Typically, a maximum lead time for kind of a repeat order is a maximum of 3 weeks. And most restaurateurs, when they buy furniture, they don't. Their planning horizon is longer than 3 weeks.
Right.
But we can even accommodate it even shorter to accommodate within 1 week if they need to, but we crash schedules and do things for customers in urgency need. But in regard to suppliers, to your point, Jack, we have, I mentioned the tenure of our employees. We also have significant long-term tenure with all of our suppliers, which is including freight companies and our raw material suppliers, along with our professional services. So the Trendler family extends beyond the employees and extends to our network of supply chain as well. And we hold them to very high standards, but we also provide them with the information they need to succeed. So, yeah, occasionally problems happen, weather, whatnot, but we're typically very good. We monitor our on-time delivery, and that is the delivery time it takes to get to our customers, and we're at like a 99%. So,
Yeah,
That's
that's
outstanding.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, with being on we're a national, we have coverage and we work in a lot of different markets. Can you speak a little bit to the, lead times on freight to shipping, in the southern region of the United States? Is that something where you're still experiencing those really good lead times and delivery schedules and whatnot? Can you speak a little bit about that?
Absolutely. We actually ship product all over the world. Every major developed country we supply product to. And we work with air freight, we work with ocean freight, we work with rail, we work with trucks. A lead time typically, depending on, we try to get backhaul, we try to get not only lead time, but get cost-effective freight as well. And when it comes to furniture, we need to make sure it doesn't get damaged. So the freight carriers that handle furniture-related freight have to get it there on time, make sure it doesn't get damaged, and do it cost-effectively. So getting it from Chicago to the West Coast obviously would take a little longer than the South, but the lead times are pretty well fixed as well. We have our freight structured by zone. So each zone, we know we have a handful of carriers that can handle the products within there. And if a customer needs something super fast, we have a carrier that could do it super fast. If they needed just regular freight, we have a multitude of them too. And they're, depending on the geographic zone, is who we would determine who we would select. And we have long-term contracts with all of them. So I don't know if that addressed your inquiry, but it's pretty elaborate.
It did because it kind of tied into what the Hody Group, we have the pleasure of representing Trendler, but goes beyond that. As a customer listening, we have great relationships also with a company that is tied to Trendler, Crossroads Hospitality. And Andreas, we were talking about this earlier with beyond just seating, and I know we talked a little bit about seating today. How deep can we take a customer in the commercial space with that furniture in the front of the house, and what Crossroads can offer? How many more products can you offer with that?
Well, I happen to be also the president of Crossroads Hospitality. I grew up in the furniture manufacturing space and was the president of manufacturing facilities that made furniture. And I've now taken that skill set and expanded it to select US-based furniture manufacturers that are able to fulfill quality, on-time, continuity of supply for the restaurateurs and restaurant needs of universities and a multitude of other markets that we supply. So what we provide is custom table manufacturing, both wood in any species imaginable, from live edge to regular oak to maple to walnut to any kind of exotic species you can imagine, along with table bases with the wood trestles and a lot of the fancier stuff rather than the traditional just metal base. In addition, we do a multitude of booths as well, from leather finishes to vinyl finishes to all kinds of material and fabrics as well. So, in a nutshell, most of it's all front of store seating, restaurant, and table related. But we can do a complete turnkey solution for that as well.
And one thing that we talked a lot about the restaurant and I think you mentioned the word walking in the door and what all that looks.
Psychographics.
It's the psychographics of the layout and the just kind of going deeper on that. One thing that came to mind was, can everything that we talked about, from ergonomics to budget and to lifespan of product and durability and everything that we touched on today, I feel like is important to how we can tie that in and talk a little bit about, maybe briefly, the convention center space, the banquet seating, and going into those larger venues and how all that kind of plays a part. And if I'm a customer listening to this, Trendler global approach on how people should be thinking about banquet seating and those larger venues. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's the form and function of what the furniture is designed to do. So, we know a restaurant's designed to sit, dine, drink, have a great social arrangement. Some of the big hotel banquet centers, along with conference centers, the purpose is different. You want to seat a large quantity of people in an area where they can be comfortable and accommodate a multitude of things, from the big screen on the front to a speaker in the front. Being able to have the chairs be able to link up, connect up, do all kinds of functions and features there, along with the comfort as well, to have the backs of the seats able to quasi-rock, not really rock, but accommodate a duration of sitting there for an 8-hour conference or whatever.
There it is again.
Yes.
That's why I brought it up. Yeah, I was thinking about that.
Yes, of course. It's really, really big. We also do university seating, like for dorm rooms. We do the cafeterias of a lot of the university as well, which has another get them in, get them out quick kind of thing. We designed the furniture for that as well. So I believe I addressed your inquiry.
You did.
Is there anything?
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
I think when we all work in different capacities, and we're all in sales, we're maybe talking to an intimate restaurateur and like Jack said, a 4 or 5 star venue. But then we also work different scales and different properties where it's large seating capacity, and that's also sometimes just very focused on setting a mood or an atmosphere. So I think everyone has its play, but I just wanted to touch on the convention and larger venue style seating concepts and just talk a little bit about that, because we do serve both realms.
Yep.
Yeah.
Excellent.
In the banquet seating, I'm very familiar with that. Most operators, one of the first things that's going to come out of their mouth is stackability of your furniture, because they got to store it somewhere when there's not an event, and they usually have more than they usually need, because not every event is 400 people. Some are 150, some are 200, and you need to be able to stack this. And along with that, you have basic tools that help you move stacks of chairs. Okay, and I know that Trendler has these. Okay, but it's a whole different kind of sale when you come to banquet seating than when you come to 4 and 5 star dining, seating. This is where Crossroads and Andreas lend a great deal of information for us to all benefit from.
Right. So in that particular space, it requires certainly the comfort, but also the durability, because the amount of traffic that they get from stacking them and moving them and then putting them back out, and people sitting on them for a duration of 8 hours, and one of the most rigorous seating environments. Anybody want to take a guess what it is? Not to play any games here, but anyone?
Rigorous. What do you mean by rigorous?
The most demanding seating environment for a chair. Enough of the little quiz here. It's the casino, Mark.
No.
Like slot chairs and things of that nature. They
want them to sit there and keep putting their money in. And
they do. And they're
stretches of
sitting
time.
and they're leaning and they're bending and they're doing things to those chairs that require, immense quality and design that go into it. So
that's interesting.
The fact I mentioned that is just that we have a very wide depth, width, and breadth of ability to analyze a seating environment and make the determination of what would be the best product for it. So we're well suited in that environment, and that's our game. That's what we do.
Well, we are going to have to leave it right here, guys. This was, again, I say it every time, don't I, Nick?
We run out of time.
Yeah, time flies when you're having fun, but that's all the time we have today. If you'd like to reach any of us at the Hody Group, Trendler, Inc., or would like to consult with us, please check out our show notes for our contact information attached to this podcast. Also, please follow, and share the Let's Set Your Table podcast. And if you're so moved, we would be grateful that you'd leave us a positive review on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, and YouTube Music. We also would like to encourage you to leave us a comment and perhaps topics you would like us to discuss in future episodes.
Please join us again for another episode of Let's Set Your Table. If you would like more information, samples, or would like to consult with the Hody Group, visit thehodygroup.com. That's HODE group.com.